how do I theorize around what is going to happen next? I'm trying to understand. You could sort of go back to game theory and look at how each side's going to react. You could go back to the Cold War and try and understand what deterrence theory and how the Cold War played out relates to this story. How do I think about how a trade war would evolve? What kind of frame of references should I be looking at?
Well, I think you are starting from the right place in terms maybe a different type of Cold War. But if we look at what happened to the global economy since really China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, globalization has been all about incorporating China. And this is a very different both economic and political system. And it hasn't worked. The globalized order that we have created hasn't worked. For a long time, the premise was that the Chinese were converging on the Western liberal economic model, maybe not the political, but certainly the economic. And it has become crystal clear, in particular after the Party Congress last year, that China has no intention to converge from here. So what we're looking at over the next 10 years will be a world economy that will probably localize and the current globalized, certainly trade, will change dramatically from here. Now, if you're looking at the behavior of the Chinese, you also have to realize that for a communist regime, there always has to be a hostile other, if you'd like. So it's likely that China, certainly over the course of the next 10 years, would not necessarily want to dominate the world, if
but
you'd
Diana,
like. Yeah,
I keep on being told that actually, it's amazing when you look at the US and where the Trump administration is and President Xi's stance, that he really, really wants to be the proponent of free trade. Is that all in talk, or are they actually implementing it in the country?
Look, China has benefited tremendously from globalization as it has been, because it managed to grab export market share at a very fast pace over the last 20 years. But they have, in particular, administered the cost of capital internally, and also have a range of other policies which are not really in line with free trade. And certainly the world as it is, unless we have the free movement of not just trade, not just goods and services, but also capital and people, we cannot sustain the current framework.